What's up, everybody? We're back from Florida, and as you can see, I've been greeted with like 3 feet of snow here, which is not a friendly change of pace. Now today we're going to continue with our trike. I need to redo the handlebars because as you see in the last episode, we did mess those things up. I do have a 212 engine that has to go in here, which I forgot to bring out from inside. But yeah, I'm so excited to get back to doing what we're doing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish a bunch of the welding before I move on to trying to mount the engine. Make sure to check out boostedlifestyle.com for all your merch. And make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now we didn't pick up just one 212 engine, we actually got two 212 engines. They were on sale, they're a bit cheaper. I was like, why don't we just grab two in case we want to do another silly build. Princess Auto and Harbor Freight are basically the same store, one's Canadian, one's US. However, we don't get the Predator 212 engine. We actually get the Power Fist 212 engine. And I don't know how I feel about getting power fisted. Let's just quickly pull this engine out and see if the other one is actually gonna fit in here. One thing I did like about the 212 over the other engine is if you do pull off the gas tank and the exhaust, the valve cover sits at an angle instead of straight up and down. Let's see if this fits in here. Ooh. Huh. That's cool. Still doesn't fit. Gas tank maybe? It turns out that building it around one engine and putting a different engine in it, not the smartest idea in the world. It will fit with some finagling. Is that even a word? It's probably a word. In order to fill it up, basically you have to take the engine out to fill it up. So the gas tank has to go. I believe the airbox is probably gonna have to go as well. Some sort of aftermarket filter on there. And then to be convenient, the exhaust is gonna have to go as well. So an aftermarket exhaust on that as well. What is it? Poor planning makes piss poor performance? That's exactly what this is right now. Get the gas tank off, we'll get the air filter off, see if we can get it in position, and then we're gonna actually do our welding because that's what I meant to do in the first place. There we go, that's much more compact. I'm sure we can get an aftermarket filter for right here. We're just gonna have to build a custom tank somewhere in this area, and then a custom exhaust that's gonna loop, just so we don't burn our legs basically, and loop here and then come down underneath this piece and probably out through the middle somewhere here. Like I said, I'm gonna take the engine out. I'm going to try and weld up as much as I can if I have to flip it over and get some of the welds on the underside, but I'd like to get this pretty solid before we start making our handlebars. So on a lot of welds like these ones, I like to use 100 amps base on the welder and then just use the throttle pedal to roll it back a little bit if it gets too hot. And I'm just using 1/16 mild steel wire as filler here. And you know what, I'm not professional at welding by any means, but I get the job done, and I encourage everyone else to learn to weld because it's just a fun skill to have. Now, having the ability to roll over the frame and position everything to where I'm welding comfortably makes it so much easier to make nice welds. I am totally not envious of the guys who have to weld roll cages inside of cars and get upside down and backwards just to get a weld on the bottom side of a pipe or between the headliner and the top of the pipe. I totally understand now why people cut the floor out of their car, drop the cage on the floor, weld it completely up, put the cage back in, and weld the floor up. Like, the most important part of welding is just being comfortable. So if you can keep moving the frame around and be comfortable, you're gonna have pretty consistent welds the whole time. And if you don't, then you probably just need some more practice. But as you can see, we got the whole thing welded up. Looks great. All the welds turned out pretty good. I didn't really clean up anything with acetone or anything. I could just kind of let it burn in, but maybe you should clean it up. You know you're welding for a little bit when your argon starts freezing up. Dang. Set that off for now. Everything is welded up. I might have made a little bit of a boo-boo here when I welded the headset because I think the oil started coming out of the bearings. So I'm gonna have to replace those bearings. I forgot about them, to be honest. And yeah, everything is all welded up. Now that everything is welded up, it's probably the opportune time to smooth and blend this piece in. I meant to do it a while ago, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow the angle of the seat tubes right here, flatten this out, build a little triangle plate to go in there, and then weld that all together, just so there's some extra rigidity right here. And it's also gonna give us a mounting point for mounting our seat. So what we're gonna use is just a grinder with a flappy wheel on it, and we're just gonna work it a little bit until it gets to a position that we feel like it's comfortable to start welding onto. Put some of these on because we want to prolong our hearing, and this to prolong our face. I think that's going to work just fine. Now, we'll move on to our handlebars that we were gonna do earlier. The problem is, with this style of bender, when I try and do like a U-bend and then try and do both handlebars pointing the other way, the thing actually hits. It's hard to explain without actually putting it in here, but once I get my U-bend done, there's too many bends that when I try and bend like the handlebar out pieces, that the whole rig likes to hit the rig itself. So this is what I mean. In order to bend this piece outwards for the handlebar, this actually has to be on top of the bender because there's nowhere else for it to go. So the intricate bends kind of don't work with this thing, so we're gonna have a little bit of bendy handlebars, but I gotta try not to mess it up like I did the last one, basically. All right, this is the part I need to not mess up because I did it last time where I put the bend in the wrong spot and ruined the other handlebars. So this one is this way. We need to have the angle pointing up this way on this one. 2 times I did that. I don't know about you, but that looks pretty close to me. We're obviously gonna have to cut the ends off because we can't have them this long. Just gotta figure out how wide I want them now. I might end up having to cut these off and welding a 7/8 piece on here so we can use some regular hand controls. The next thing we have to do is we actually have to, I don't know why I keep like messing up my table here, but I do. So the next thing we have to do, we actually have to mount these pieces, which are handlebar risers, which actually gives it an extra like 1.5 inch height. So I didn't account for that, but drill 2 holes, they should mount right here. And then we should be able to put our handlebars in. Now, of course, the bolts they give you are like the bejesus long. Like, what am I supposed to do with a bolt that long? This is like, that's a big plate. And then that's gonna protrude right into our handlebars if I put that in there. So I gotta cut a couple threads off that, like sloppy style, and then I'll bolt these in. Just whack it to her with the grinder. Probably like 4 threads maybe. Let's just say 5 to be sure. Also, the only way I'll ever mount my vise is if someone like donates a vise to the channel, because I'm not gonna go buy another vise when I just have a multi-purpose vise here. All right, we should be able to handle this part. We're pretty smart, I think. Now we gotta move the camera back like 20 feet for these bad boys. I love me some tall handlebars. Oh yeah. Now I think the problem is those are 7/8 clamps and those are 1-inch bars. But I mean, constant pressure and lubrication, anything will fit. They are still loose even though they're tight, so I'm probably gonna have to buy like steel ones eventually, I think. They don't seem straight, the handlebars. I love how high up they are. That's gonna annoy me that these aren't like... I feel like I've drilled the holes in the same spots. Or close. Maybe that's what it was. I just got some narrow plate here. And so our holes are gonna have to be pretty correct for this one. We're just gonna bridge across here with 2 lengths, weld that into place, and then that's what our engine can bolt to. All right, we want our engine to be right around this spot. So we've gotta line up 1 bolt hole with the engine. Yep, right around there. Puts the chain just outside the frame. Right there, right here. So we attach these together. Right. Now we clamp these 2 pieces together and drill a hole through the top, and then we can do the same on the other side, and everything should line up if we line both of these up together. Now we can give it a cute little boop, and that's where we drill our hole. All right, let's just burn this bad boy in. I think I'm gonna put this one all the way at the front here, if I'm honest. Not even that I want to burn it into this, which would probably help. It's just, I want to keep the weight as far forward as possible so this thing doesn't wheelie as much. All right, we went out, we bought some bolts. These are for our engine and for our brake caliper. We're gonna have to machine down this piece just to accept this caliper right here, or this rotor. The caliper on this machine is actually bigger than the one that's on that machine, which we're gonna have to replace the one on that thing if we don't wanna die. And then we have our sprocket here too, and a lever for our brakes, and the hose. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bolt down the engine here. We'll get our rear axle set up with the rotor and the sprocket, and we'll get that bolted back in, then we can align the chain and hopefully build a bracket for our caliper. We're gonna push our bearings all the way forward, and that way, when we put our sprocket on, we can put our chain on and then push it back to tighten the chain. Now it's starting to take shape, and I'm absolutely in love with this thing. The fact that I've made almost every part of this thing by hand, like frame-wise anyways, I can't really build an engine for 130 bucks. We're gonna pull both wheels off, get our sprocket on this side, our brake caliper on this side, but look at it. I'm hopeful. Okay, before we do anything else, let's center up our axle here. Tiny bit this way. A half plus 1 tick. That's on measuring stuff. 12.5. Needs to be slightly that way, tiny bit. 12.5 and 1 tick-ish. Those are actual measurements. And it's the exact same on this side. If y'all ain't using halves and ticks, it's like 2 ticks past a half, then you're not measuring it right. Now I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that these little locking collars go on these now to hold the bearings in place. Yes, no, maybe? I'm gonna put them on anyways. I'm guessing that's gonna hold the bearing from sliding over, or the axle from sliding the bearing.
Hopefully they didn't mush them up too much.
Well, that's starting to look fancy. That's a nice wide axle on a proper brake on it this time. Well, proper caliper once we mount it. Sprocket lined up with, kind of lined up with that sprocket in the front over there. That's actually going to be a decently long chain, I believe. You know what, we could probably put the chain on and just figure it out. I need to get a bolt for this still. I'm totally getting too antsy in my pants right now, and I need to put this front wheel on to see what it looks like. As if I didn't build it already. I didn't say assembling this by myself would be easy. Let's see if I can even get this thing down from the stand now. Oh yeah, it's not that bad. If this isn't the coolest pit vehicle you've ever seen, I'm gonna need to extend these pegs a little bit further, I think. When you turn, it actually lifts the frame up. So when people say going around turn, you're gonna hit the pegs, well, because of the caster in the head tube here, when you turn it, it actually wants to go back to the middle when you let go of it. So it lifts the frame up when you're turning, and then it lets go. I am so stoked for this. The head tube is slightly loose, but I'm moving! All right, this is Gina's first sit down on it.
Do I just sit here?
Yep, that's where the seat's gonna go eventually. You fit.
Of course I fit, hello?
Yeah, but I thought it was gonna be like the handlebars too tall, but it looks perfect.
I feel like it's perfect. It's not like, this would be funny, but not sustainable for long periods of riding.
It's pretty cool though, isn't it? I built that.
It's super cool.
I built that whole thing.
Scratch.
A scratch, yes.
I mean, the engine you bought, but you built like everything from scratch though.
Super cool, right?
Super
I'm so stoked about it. Like this smile on my face lets me know that you need me. I think it's a song.
Are we just gonna buy a seat or we're gonna make a seat?
I might have to make one because I don't think I'm gonna fit there. And we're gonna paint it.
Just the frame?
Yeah, the
frame. Are you
frame.
gonna have any like body pieces to it or no?
I have to add a tank.
So we have to paint the tank though?
Yes.
I get to paint it whatever I want?
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I'll put a friggin' Goku Ganji on it.
But I was thinking for a tank, if I just put a pipe underneath.
Oh my god, I'm gonna paint it like, sorry, I totally interrupted you, but I was just thinking about Piccolo.
Oh my god. You're obsessed with Piccolo. I'm thinking about putting a pipe underneath, so. You wanna hold that there somewhere? So yeah, underneath like that, just put a tank. A little filler neck on it. But it's almost done. This is part 3, and there's probably gonna be 4 parts. So next time, it'll be done. And we can ride it out in the snow.
In the snow?
Yeah, you could drift it.
Oh my god.
I mean, would you just look at it? Man. We built this, dude. This just goes to show that anybody can do anything they put their mind to, because I know nothing about bending tubes. I learned welding all by myself a couple years ago. I haven't taken any formal courses on any of this stuff. And look what we just made, man.
The internet is truly a powerful place, and if you're really willing to look for it, you can find a tutorial on anything that you want on the internet. YouTube has been a vast amount of knowledge for myself, and like I said, I didn't know how to weld a couple years ago. I just picked up a TIG welder and I was like, I'm gonna learn to TIG weld because it's super cool. And now look at us now. We built this cool little rig on the floor here. Super stoked about it, and I could stay out here, to be honest, all day. But if I stay out here all day, I'll never release a video. So I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna edit this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Give it a thumbs up, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell notification next to it. It means a ton. Every subscriber counts. Peace easy, get Devi.